AI agents are learning from the conversations that built the business. Encore AI's new funding round highlights a consequential enterprise shift. Customer calls, messages, and CRM histories are becoming training material for agents that can recommend or perform the next interaction. The opportunity is real, but durable value will depend on consent, provenance, evaluation, and tightly controlled feedback loops. Encore AI has raised $30 million in a Series A round for a platform that analyzes customer calls, messages, email, and CRM records, identifies interaction patterns associated with successful outcomes, and turns those patterns into playbooks for AI agents. TechCrunch reported the round on July 29. The company says its agents can assist employees during conversations or communicate with customers directly by voice and text. More than the financing, the important signal is the product architecture. Enterprise conversational history is moving from a passive archive into an active operating layer. That shift changes what companies mean when they say an AI system learns the business. A general model can know how sales and support are usually performed, but it does not automatically know which explanations work for a particular company, when customers become confused, which handoffs cause delays, or how experienced employees recover a difficult conversation. Interaction mining attempts to recover that local knowledge from actual sequences of work. It divides conversations into stages, links them to outcomes, and searches for the language, timing, examples, and decisions that helped move the process forward. The appeal is easy to understand. Most organizations already possess years of calls, tickets, messages, and account notes, yet much of that evidence is difficult to search and rarely improves the next interaction. A well-designed system could find recurring friction, show managers where a process fails, recommend a useful answer while an employee remains in control, and help a new team member benefit from proven techniques. It could also make service more consistent across channels, instead of forcing customers to repeat the same context every time they switch from text to voice or from one representative to another. But a successful conversation is not automatically a safe or transferable lesson. A sales tactic may correlate with a completed deal while also creating pressure, obscuring a condition, or taking advantage of a vulnerable customer. A joke that works for one relationship manager may be inappropriate when repeated by a synthetic voice to a different person. An experienced employee may depart from the official script for a legitimate reason that is invisible in the outcome field. If an agent copies surface behavior without understanding authorization, policy, and context, it can scale the wrong lesson precisely because the pattern looked effective. This is why provenance must travel with every learned playbook. The system should retain the source interaction, consent status, applicable product and region, employee role, customer segment, policy version, outcome definition, and time period. It should distinguish an observed correlation from a tested causal improvement. When a recommendation appears during a live call, the employee should be able to see why it was suggested and which approved evidence supports it. When the agent acts autonomously, the organization needs an equally clear record of which playbook, model version, tools, and data produce the action. Privacy is not a paperwork layer added after deployment. Calls and CRM records can contain financial details, health information, family circumstances, authentication data, complaints, and candid statements made with a human audience in mind. Collection for service delivery does not automatically mean unrestricted permission to train an autonomous agent. Companies need purpose limits, retention rules, access controls, regional handling, redaction, and a practical way to honor deletion or correction requests. Sensitive fields should be excluded before pattern extraction, not merely hidden from the final dashboard. Employee governance matters too. A system trained on high-performing workers can turn their judgment, humor, phrasing, and emotional labor into reusable company assets. Organizations should tell employees how conversations are analyzed, which uses are allowed, how performance conclusions are drawn, and how a worker can challenge a misleading inference. The goal should be to capture reliable process knowledge without creating invisible surveillance or rewarding aggressive behavior, simply because a narrow metric improved. Evaluation must therefore test more than conversion or handle time. An agent should be measured for factual accuracy, policy compliance, disclosure, escalation, customer comprehension, fairness, privacy leakage, and the ability to stop when confidence falls. Tests should include ambiguous requests, distressed customers, conflicting account records, regional restrictions, interruptions, adversarial prompts, and cases where the correct action is to transfer control to a human. A good agent is not the one that completes every interaction. It is the one that knows which interactions it is authorized and prepared to complete. The safest adoption path is progressive autonomy. First, use the system to identify process friction and let teams inspect the findings. Next, offer suggestions to employees while recording acceptance, rejection, and edits. Then automate narrow, reversible tasks with explicit boundaries, such as confirming an appointment or summarizing a resolved issue. Only after independent evaluation should the agent handle higher-impact conversations. Each expansion should have a named owner, a rollback point, an incident channel, and measurable conditions for returning control to people. Feedback loops require special care. If the agent's own conversations are immediately added to the dataset, its phrasing can become evidence for itself. A small error may be repeated, appear common, and then be promoted into a playbook. Synthetic interactions should be labeled and separated from human origin examples. New strategies should pass review or controlled experiments before becoming default behavior. Outcome metrics also need counterweights so that a short-term gain does not quietly increase complaints, cancellations, bias, or long-term customer distrust. Competition in this market will not be decided by access to a model alone. Large CRM vendors already hold structured customer data, while specialized companies argue that conversation history requires a different implementation stack. The durable advantage will belong to systems that can connect evidence across channels without losing meaning, prove where each recommendation came from, adapt to policy changes, and operate inside precise permission boundaries. Historical data is valuable, but governed historical data is what can safely become operational intelligence. Zorg's perspective is that interaction mining marks a deeper transition in enterprise AI. Agents are no longer being asked only to generate polished language. They are being asked to absorb the unwritten routines through which organizations actually work and then participate in those routines. That can make expertise more available and service more consistent. It can also convert private human conversations into an automated behavioral engine. The difference between those outcomes will be determined by consent, provenance, evaluation, bounded autonomy, and human ownership designed into the system from the beginning. Sources: TechCrunch. Encore AI raises $30 million to build AI agents that learn from customer calls. July 29, 2026. National Institute of Standards and Technology AI Risk Management Framework. Federal Trade Commission Guidance on Artificial Intelligence, Data Use, and Truthful Claims. OECD AI Principles on Transparency, Robustness, and Accountability.